Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Tuesday, September 26, 2017, and the headlines for the day. One more day of record or near record breaking heat across the area. We'll have highs in the upper 80s to low 90s, and again, lots going to depend on the amount of cloud cover and how thick that cloud cover is, but I think especially places like Breckenridge down to Lansing have a good shot once again of hitting above 90 degrees. And maybe even across areas like Blissfield, Henderson, also those areas. The center locations and even the eastern locations, I think will have the best shot of hitting 90 today. And then cooler weather moves in for Wednesday. We'll see high temperatures in the low 70s, maybe dropping a little bit. And then we'll be in the 60s on Thursday. And by the time we get to Friday, maybe only upper 50s to low 60s in some areas. So it'll definitely be chillier. And then we'll see temperatures moderate into the 60s, low 60s on Saturday, well into the 60s Sunday. But by next week, we'll be back into the 70s for some really nice warm conditions. And unfortunately, very little rainfall expected through this whole period. You can see temperatures out there this morning in the mid to upper 60s. The cool spot, though, in the way goes down to 58 degrees. The warm spot at Henderson at 69. You can see in the Breckenridge area, we've had 5 consecutive record high temperatures, all in the 90s. And many of these, again, you can see when some of these records are last previously set back in the late 1800s or early 1900s. So it's been quite a while, over 100 years, each one of these records have stood. And so we've blown them right out of the water. And again, today's high is forecasted to be around 88 to 92, maybe a 93 degrees, and our record for the day is 90. And so that looks like it could be in jeopardy. Again, we'll have to wait and see how much cloud cover we get. Across the MAC and LAC area over the last several days, you can see Lansing, Breckenridge, and Middleton, all 5 90-degree days, along with Henderson, and record highs abound in much of those areas. Lansing working on their 6th consecutive record for the date as well. If we look at the 90-degree day totals now, you can see we're up to 9 here in Breckenridge, 8 in Middleton, 7 in Jasper. And so this warm stretch has certainly bumped that up, and very unexpectedly that you would ever expect to get this many 90-degree days in the month of September. On the satellite view, this is the water vapor imagery. First of all, you can see we probably would have hit 95 degrees yesterday had it not been for some of these clouds blowing in from Hurricane Maria, but no moisture associated with this. If you look at the kind of the brownish tan colors, these are indicates where the dry air is most prevalent. You can see that's all the way from the Great Lakes down to the southwest, and we're only experiencing some upper moisture. And then you can see where all the showers and thunderstorms are going off to our west. That's where most of the moisture is across the lower 48, in addition to just offshore with that hurricane. If we look at the radar this morning, you can see all that precipitation staying well off to the west, just as we talked about for the last week, that most of this would stay off to our east. The last low pressure system is going to be moving up this front. We got the hurricane that's going to be eventually pulling off the sea. That's going to get this whole pattern moving. But unfortunately, all we're going to be left with would be the remnants of any moisture that'll be on the southern end of the cold front as it moves through here as we get into tonight and tomorrow. So it's going to be very isolated or scattered broken areas of showers as we move into the nighttime hours. You can see our high pressure system off to the east. And again, that's going to cause the hurricane to begin to push off to the northeast as it gets caught up in this trough. And then we'll see this system begin to move to the east. The cold front will move through by tomorrow. And you can see the low pressure system well off to our northeast. Cold front already moved through, so it's going to be a very quick mover once it begins moving east. So the time that we could see any precipitation is going to be quite limited as it looks right now. And then as we move into the day on Friday, we do got an upper system. This might be our best chance of rain. It'll be Thursday night into Friday. As this system scoots off to the east, there might be just enough dynamics where we could squeeze out some showers. But again, don't count on it. The best bet is just trace amounts, if any, across much of the MAC and LAC areas. Again, the best support will be the further north you go in the state. You can see the precipitation here over the last 3 days. Again, well off to our northwest. Lots of precipitation out there. We've been high and dry with just pretty much no precipitation across the state of Michigan, the lower peninsula anyway. And if we look at the forecast map over the next 3 days, you can see very little to no precipitation across much of the area. I do think there will be some showers in this area, either between the rainfall tonight and then again Thursday night into Friday. But again, you can see that the Weather Prediction Center is not very optimistic, and neither am I, about any rain. So if you do get some rainfall, consider yourself very lucky. And again, the more significant amounts will be off into the western UP back into Wisconsin. As far as the next 7 days, again, not a whole lot of good news across much of the area. Maybe just trace amounts, maybe a little bit more than that once you get into the thumb over into southwest Ontario. But again, this is not a real rainy pattern we're into, and the extended outlooks, again, much the same. We're going to continue to be ourselves warming back up after this little bit of a cool down, and we'll see temperatures a good 5 to maybe 10 degrees above normal once we get into later next week. And as far as precipitation goes, again, not a whole lot of good news. The driest areas in the country will be right here across the Great Lakes to the south. And as far as the forecast goes, again, another hot day today, record-breaking or near record-breaking highs, upper 80s to low 90s, and then we'll cool down significantly Wednesday into the upper 60s to low 70s, and then pretty much into the 60s. We're going to bump this temperature on Thursday down to about 62 to 66, and then for Friday, we may be lucky to get into the low 60s. I think there'll be some areas that may be in the upper 50s, and then we'll be in the low 60s on Saturday. We'll begin to warm up Sunday, and especially for the day on Monday. As far as weather watch across the area, not a whole lot going on. Heat warnings across southwest Ontario, and we also have some air quality issues to our south. We have flood warnings over in portions of south central Kansas, and then as you get into Nebraska and South Dakota, there are frost advisories out this morning. And again, we'll see some cooler temperatures around here, maybe some frost in some of the interior sections as we get into Friday or Saturday morning, but not a real big threat right now. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.